From our studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee. Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. Happy New Year to all. With me today, I have Misty Katzfey from Vintage Block and Suites in the Okoboji Commons Hotel, and also Rachel Fandel from Fillenwarth Beach Resorts. And welcome, guys. Thanks for coming here with me.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. You know, I brought you in here. Well, I contacted Misty first, and because I'm just curious. I did some interviews last week on retail and what 2020, you know, endless curveballs. And I thought we need to talk about lodging, and I wanted to talk about locally owned lodging, which of course you're both dealing with. And so let's go back to last year. And when did you start to really think, oh my goodness, this could affect tourism this upcoming season? When did it first start to trickle in with the news?
Yeah, well, this is kind of odd because I had taken a vacation to see my aunt in Florida, and none of it had hit yet until I was there. And then it just started like people are grounding their flights and they're not traveling and da-da-da-da-da. And I went through the vacation and we were a little careful because my aunt's older. It hit me when I was in the airport as far as this is really weird because I went into the Jacksonville airport. I was the only one in the security line.
Oh, wow.
It was the weirdest feeling.
How unusual is that?
Exactly, right? And so then I looked down the hall and there's one other person. And I was like, wow, this is really strange. And I got home and it was around the middle of March by the time that I had gotten home. Went through about the next 10 days. I didn't have any cancellations. I was super excited. I kept thinking, you know what? Maybe it won't be as bad as what they're saying.
Yeah.
On that last weekend in March, from that Friday to that Monday morning, I believe we lost a half a dozen groups. And it was a huge dollar impact on both of our hotels. I was like physically sick about it. I was just like, oh my gosh, you can't recoup that. You know, we were actually in a position at Commons to have the very best group season that we had. And honestly, from that weekend, all the way up until May, it was like dead. I mean, we just the only when the phone rang, the only thing that was happening is we were taking cancellations. It was horrible. It was really it was frightening.
And you know, and the time involved that it takes to get those groups. You know, there's a lot of groups coming to the Iowa Great Lakes, and to first recruit them and get them into your place, and they like it and go, oh, we'd love to come back here again. And when those evaporate, you know, they always say we got that 3-month window, and we do have a little bit of shoulder season, but when that starts to pop, boy, that's a big ouch.
It really hurt. How about you?
Yeah, same. You know, we have so many families that are multi-generational, and this is their gathering spot. You know, they're traveling from the east and the west coast all across the nation, and they meet here. Yeah. And it just became impossible for them. And, you know, as Misty said, we were taking phone calls every day. I dreaded going there just simply to take all of those cancellations. And really, each and every reservation to us is personal, and we love all of our guests, and that really hurts when you lose them.
Oh, yeah. And you know, and I remember I was down in Florida about the same time you were last year, and all of a sudden, you know, they were talking about this, Europe, Asia, and they were starting to, how can we keep this out of the United States? And we got back here on the 1st of March, and the Dow was already starting to just nosedive, and you think, is it going to come to the middle of the country?
Right.
And then mid-March, were you shocked when the governor said, yeah, we're going to close the schools, but also we're going to be shutting down businesses?
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could not believe it. I mean, it was, I seriously was physically sick for that. Just every day you got up, and the impact that it had on the small business was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just devastating, and I know that there's so many people in that position. It really has been hard on this. It's been hard on everybody, not
Yeah.
just the service industry. It's been hard on everybody.
Yeah. Did you start thinking about, do we keep employees on? Do we make cuts? Do we try for the PPP? What?
Yeah, I mean, we really considered everything throughout the process, but we hire a lot of high school and college age students, and we're very fortunate in that aspect. However, at one point we didn't know, would we be able to provide them with a full-time job?
Yeah.
Will we have to cut them back down to part-time hours, etc.? And of course you don't want to do that because it's their livelihood as well. So we really tried everything in our power to not make that happen.
Yeah. Were there thoughts in when this hit, and even late March, thinking, well, we've got a couple months till season really hits. Maybe in a couple months this thing will eradicate.
Gosh, I was kind of hoping that throughout the entire year.
Right?
And we're still hoping a little bit on that.
I'm
Yeah.
still hoping that, but no, it definitely. I held out hope. I really think this entire area held out hope that things would improve as we went on through the summer, but which I do think it did. A bit actually around the end of July. I think
We
things
were,
got a little better.
we were kind of fortunate. It almost seemed like we were in a bubble of our own, economically speaking. The park opened up, then shut down for a little bit, but then reopened, and all of a sudden we did have, and they were able to socially distance with the concerts and the Preservation Plaza and Farmers Market on Saturdays. Did some of that help you keep people from coming in during the summertime?
Yes, it did boost revenue, I would say. I think probably the best thing for our businesses here in particular is that we have so many individual units. We have outside entrances that the guests can come in. They're not seeing anyone else. They can go in their room. They can sit on their private patio. They can socially distance, and then when they're leaving their room, they're outside.
Yeah.
You're able to be socially distanced from others.
Yeah, that helped us a great deal. But what also, I mean, the Arnold's Park is so important to us.
Yeah.
It really was. And what was nice not nice, but was surprising was the amount of guests that we got from Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, those states that are completely shut down, and you're still seeing it with people from Minnesota going,
seriously.
yeah.
Oh, seriously.
We can go to Iowa, at least do something.
And they would come, but what normally would be a one-time, trip to our area, they came like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
If you looked at our parking lot and looked through the license plate, it was phenomenal. I think that I just felt very fortunate that we were able to pull out a decent summer, and staffing was very difficult because we usually hire 8 to 10 J1 students, and we only had one make it here. And so we really...
I'm surprised you got one with
I
all
know,
the
we were
shutdowns.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were too. We had to get super creative, but the whole team really did a phenomenal job of, they offered, to go in the tasting room and also in the Smack Shack. They were super careful. We offered contactless check-in, and it ended up, I mean, honestly, I'm pretty grateful. I mean, that I know that there's unfortunately a lot of other hotels in our situation that aren't quite as lucky. I think that if we were in a metropolitan area or on a coast or in a state that had some really strict guidelines and they couldn't open up, that would have killed us. We would be having a way different conversation.
A lot darker conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think to branch off of that, I think another aspect of this is that we are this smaller area that feels like family.
Yeah.
And people can come here, whether they live in a metropolitan area or not, they can come here knowing that we care about them. And that speaks for all the businesses in this area as a whole. When you come here, you're treated like family. You're going to be safe. You know that these business owners are going to do absolutely everything in their power to keep you safe while allowing you to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that with, the restaurants doing the curbside service and takeout and so forth. And cutting down their tables, cutting down their occupancy,
Right.
And so forth.
Absolutely.
And what kind of steps did you have to take at your establishments? I'm sure and here we go.
I remember the first time that I had to go in and disinfect a room, and I thought to myself, okay, here's the skinny. If I'm going to tell this guest that I have disinfected every single touch point, I am going to do it. So I take my little hydrogen peroxide, my alcohol mix, what have you. I go in there and I spray. Now I had read an article that you have to leave it on a couple minutes or whatever. So I leave it sit there, and then I go do something else. I come back, there's just streaks down the door. And now after the season, all of like our doorknobs, the finish is rubbed off and everything like that. I mean, it was insane. It was ridiculous what we did, but at the same time, I felt a lot of pride about our entire team.
Yeah.
And the steps that they took to provide somebody who wasn't nervous at all about COVID to the person who is extremely sensitive.
Yeah.
And we went to every measure to make sure that we did what our part as far as disinfecting. And we didn't just disinfect once or twice.
Yeah.
We did it on the, we did it 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of work. And how about at Fillenwarth?
Yeah, same. I mean, the disinfecting is one thing, but then you have the common areas that you're dealing with as well with the disinfecting. But also, at Fillenwarth, we have a ton of activities for our guests. And there's social activities, of course.
Right.
So it was a bit like reinventing the wheel after a century of business.
Yeah.
So,
that's why I was, of course you have the cruises and
Yes.
everything that go out, and you've got
Yes.
pool area. And
Well,
how did you?
yeah, well,
That's a lot of work.
We started off the end of March, and we started brainstorming, and thank goodness we have an excellent team as well that put our minds together. And we started off saying, gosh, we're not going to be able to do all of these things. And then you started getting a little bit more creative and saying, okay, we'll do these cruises only at 25% capacity and just take multiple cruises per day.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not great for revenue, but at that point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's about the safety and how are we going to maintain this. So, like I said, it took a lot of creative thinking, but we were successful, and I feel really confident that people had a great time and we're still able to be safe.
Yeah. And it's amazing the practices, and I've said this I don't know how many times, think about if this would have happened in the 80s when there wasn't the technology we have now for communication as easy as a Zoom meeting and so forth.
Yeah.
Banks were able to keep working and businesses, okay, well, like you guys did, let's tweak it.
Right.
And we can still continue maybe at a lesser amount, but do the things that people are accustomed to.
Right.
Were there practices that you started that you think, moving forward as things get better, maybe we could still apply some of this stuff?
Oh, good grief. I thought about that every single day, honestly, and there are a lot of practices that we will continue doing moving into the future. Things that you never really thought about too much, and now you think, wow, why didn't we do that for the last 50 years?
Yeah.
And
Well, when you're 100 years old plus,
Yeah.
well, this is the way we've always done it, and that's a very easy fallback position. And then you're forced to rethink things, and you know what? That didn't work too darn bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Teaching old dogs new tricks is not always easy, but
Well,
we gotta
speaking
do
as an
it.
old dog, I can understand completely. Now, as we look forward, now here we are, 2021, and people are just starting to get the vaccines and so forth. And I know they say, to get 60, 70% of the population to really start for your businesses, what are you hoping, at least, timelines and happens so you can operate a little bit more like business as usual, but maybe still using some practices that you've learned along the way?
I think for this next year, what's interesting is that I feel that our corporate and group bookings will continue to be down. I think that there's a general consensus that it might be irresponsible yet.
Yeah.
However, it's just January.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless us as people. We have very short-term memories.
Yeah, we do.
We really do, and that is really lucky for us because. And so, while that may be down, I firmly believe the leisure market will be up. They will be ready to come and ready to have a great time.
Yeah.
And we may see a banner summer. I mean, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are. And I do believe that as we learned a lot last year.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about the importance of, taking steps to keep each other safe and disinfecting and really as a public business making sure that we have really done our part.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about 2021. I really am. I think that we're going to have a good summer. I mean, God bless.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel the same. Yeah.
Okay.
From year to year, we have so much repeat business, and we are very blessed in that aspect. However, this year opened the door for new customers to come see us. Yep. They're traveling nationally rather than internationally.
Right.
They decided to come, closer to home, and they loved it. And they trust us, and they want to come back.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I sure hope that we have the returning guests and all these new guests as well, that we can take care of and make them all feel like family as well.
Yeah, and you said it best when you said, it's family. And those that did make it last year saw the hard work you and your staff did, and it's in their mind, they really looked out for us during this difficult time. And I think we're going to appreciate it so much more when it comes back around and people start coming back again.
Absolutely. I also feel as though credit is deserved outside of the individual businesses. There's so many people, the businesses in this area speak so highly of our businesses.
Right.
It generates business there, but we also have a lot of people out in the clouds as well, like the Iowa Great Lakes Chamber of Commerce. We have the Okoboji Tourism Office.
Yep.
All of these people are marketing us in a responsible manner to make sure that the word gets out to these future travelers that, hey, these people are really doing it the right way. They want to protect you. They want to do their part.
Yeah, which is difficult. That tight wire act of, we want you to come, our businesses need the revenue, but we want you to do it safely. And to credit for those organizations that found a way to do that, much like credit to the amusement park of finding ways to keep it open, keeping people safe, keeping them entertained, and being a juggernaut for keeping Okoboji moving last summer.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Well, anything else in retrospect or looking ahead that you want to share with anybody? I know you're both talkers.
Right?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah. I'm reaching there, aren't I?
Yeah. It was a really difficult year, but what was kind of cool at the very end of it is how everybody really stepped up, and not only just within our business, also in other businesses. There was a young man who really helped me. He was from Bolivia, and he was an employee of the park, and it was kind of funny because I went to give him his last paycheck, and I had to come down here because he was leaving. I went to say goodbye to him, and I actually had tears in my eyes. I'm like, you have no idea. I could have not made it through this summer without him, because those kids that came and helped in the evening time because we didn't get our daytime work. Yeah. I mean, it was really cool. And it was really cool also how the park, like a marshal, like, okay, what do you need? What do you need? Yeah. All right, we got this. It was really nice.
Yeah. And I've always said that about this area, whether it was the flood of 93, the recession like 07 and so forth. This area finds a way when there's hardship to come together at a core and find ways to work through it.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of the Iowa Great Lakes.
It really is.
Yeah.
Have you noticed on Facebook how everybody is really sharing other businesses
Yeah.
and they're liking them. Oh my God, great job! And I just think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a silver lining.
There is.
To last year.
Yeah, I think there's many silver linings, and I think, like I said before, we're going to appreciate them so much more here in a certain amount of time. And quite frankly, myself, I can't wait to start hugging people again.
Right?
I miss my hugs. Oh, well, Rachel Sandel and Misty Katzfey, thank you for coming
Thank
in
you.
and sharing a little bit of what lodging has been like in the last year and where we're going, but we're all optimistic.
Super appreciate it, Jeff.
All right,
Thank you.
my pleasure indeed. We want to thank them for joining us here today, and we want to thank you, as always, for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you by the Scott Troutman State Farm Agency in Spirit Lake, Pure Fishing in Spirit Lake, Last Touch Painting and Cleaning, providing interior, exterior, house painting, and professional cleaning services in Spirit Lake. Quest Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services. Advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. Ducky's Marine and Motorsports Repair in Spirit Lake. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Attorney Bethany Brands at Brands Law Office in Spirit Lake. Ruthven Locker at the lake, where carnivores are welcome on Hill Avenue in Spirit Lake. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji. The YMCA of the Okobojis is the Bedell Family YMCA, building strong families and strong communities.